Okay, welcome to exercise 1.5. Exercise 1.5 is going to cover comps, takes, and also we're going to try our hand a little bit of flex time as well. So I have this song that is called Prayer of Silence, and we're going to listen to some portions of it, and we're going to try and flatten and merge all of the vocals to start with. And for instance, let's see, I've already flattened and merged some of these. Like this comp A has already been flattened and merged, and you can tell that it's been flattened because there's no down arrow. Now over here in the background vocal, well, there's a down arrow that tells you there's all these different takes. Now something to consider is that usually when we're recording, the very last thing that we do is the keeper, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't listen to the whole take and make sure it's all right, and double check to make sure that we, actually do have a good file or a good audio take. So here's BGVs, and I'm going to get ready to flatten and merge those if they're decent.
Grace reaches out, shining light to the truth, reminded by the Holy Spirit.
And for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and flatten and merge those. And the way that you do that is go to the number 6. It's all the way up to take 6, and we go on down to flatten and merge, and it's going to erase all the other takes that we don't want, and it's going to keep the compilation take. It is what we call a destructive edit, so it's a little bit more difficult to go back, and that's why we save as over and over again, so that if we ever need to go back to a previous saved project, then we can do that. So
Grace reaches out, shining light.
So here's an example of a take that might, a part of it that might not be as good. So let's go ahead and solo those. And so I've chosen take 1 from this background vocal.
Grace reaches out, shining.
Okay. And let's go back to this one.
Grace reaches out, shining light to.
All right, we'll go ahead and go with that. And as we listen to it with the lead vocal, let's hear how it all sounds together.
Grace reaches out, shining light.
Okay, so usually there's an awful lot more listening involved just to make sure that you've got this flattened and merged, but just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and be more aggressive with the flatten and merges, and just to show you how that it works. So let's flatten and merge that. And there. Okay, so those are the choir parts, and now what I'm going to do is take a look at some of the instrumentals, because it's pretty obvious to me, probably to you as well, that the piano and the drums just do not really sync together very well. So we're going to try and fix that a little bit later.
I come to reveal,
Especially right here.
Grace reaches out, shining light to the truth.
Yeah, so we'll try to fix that. Let's see. Take a look at the piano first, and One thing about editing is it's much easier to edit when you only have one audio track to edit. So there's a lot of things you can't really do until you flatten and merge. But before I do that, I'm going to show you something called grouping. And the grouping is going to help us to do some of these edits a little faster. Hello. No, thank you. And so I'm going to choose these two, piano 1, piano 2, and then this little bar right here is group. We're going to make a new group. And then up here, we can see, we can name the group piano. And then the settings. So what do we want that to do? Well, I want to be able to mute, them all together, volume up and down. I suppose that's fine. Input, no need. But here's the big one, editing selection. So what happens when you do that is when you edit one track, it will edit in the same way in the other track as well. So we're going to do that first. And now I'm going to go back to these takes and I'll show you how that works. I think this track is probably fine, but again, just for the sake of trial, I'm going to change this, and I'm going to choose part of this take 1, which is a reject. But I want to show you that when I did that, it also chose that same exact take for that top one as well. So let's hear what that sounds like. So it kind of lacks the consistency, and so I'm going to go ahead and choose that, all of that take 3, and now I'm going to flatten and merge one of them, and then what's going to happen is it will flatten and merge both of them at the same time. So that's really nice, and always saving, and maybe save as when you do some more serious edits. Okay. So now let's listen to the drums and the piano together and hear how they're just not really syncing together very well. So I'm also going to do the same thing with the drums, and I'm going to make a group with those as well. And so that's right here. Make a group 2, and I'm going to call group 2 drums. So I've got 2 groups, and then really importantly, I've got to do that. We want to phase lock that audio, and that's what we want. Okay, so now I can just take a look at one of these tracks, and there's a lot of them, a lot of different tracks. let's see, I think I'm looking at the snare drum. Yeah, let's do the snare. Snare is a good way to go. Well, it definitely needs some cleaning up. That sounds a little quick. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is try to find a different take for that snare drum lick. And let's hear that. So maybe this one will be nicer. Let's try it. Better. So I mean the thing though that I should probably point out is when I made that edit and I chose that part of the edit, then it changed it in all of the drums, and that's pretty cool. And that's just because grouping and phase locking it. All right. So I think I'm ready. I've actually listened to this, and I think I'm ready to go ahead and flatten and merge the drums as well. So I'm just going to go over here. Yeah, I'll go to the kick, and I'll just flatten and merge that kick. And once everything is flattened, then we can do some more serious editing. Takes a little bit of time. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to turn on the flex time. And the flex is this one over here. So you have to start by turning that on. And let me go to the piano. So I'll go to the piano first, and I'll just enable flex. And the piano is it's a multiple keyed instrument. So I think it goes automatically to this polyphonic. That's probably, just fine. It automatically went to polyphonic. That's okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and have a listen, and we're going to want to do something called Quantize. And Quantize is going to put that piano in, good time, flex time. So we push that I, hit pi 1.
Looking around, seeking your presence, Lord.
Okay, and there's going to be some different types of quantize that we might want to do, and one might be just to go straight for 16th notes. And let's hear what that sounds like. We'll know pretty quick if that was a good choice.
Looking around, seeking your presence, Lord.
All right, we'll say that I went with 8th notes first. Eighth note, let's hear what that sounds like.
Looking around, seeking your presence, Lord. My heart longs for you. Guide my heart, lead me closer to you. As I stand in your presence, I confess to you. I come to reveal all I've transgressed. I offer you all my fear and shame. You right my wrongs, pour mercy over me. I am made new because of you.
Well, so far that sounds fine for the piano, and it actually is starting to sound more synced in with the drums, so maybe the drums are a little more accurate than the piano. But I am going to do the same thing with the drums, and I'm going to flex time those as well, just to see if we can, get things a little bit tighter. Now, flex time is not a fix-all. Just push a button and you got everything exactly the way you want it. You really have to do a lot of listening just to make sure that they're good choices. And it's nice when that does work out. Sometimes you do the flex time and it just kind of takes care of everything, but I don't know if that's always going to be the case. Let's go to kick, and I'm going to put the quantize on. The eighth notes seem pretty good, so I'll do eighth notes, and let's hear how it sounds together now.
I come to reveal all I've transgressed. I offer you
so much
my
tighter.
fear and shame. You right my wrongs, pour mercy over me. I am made new because of you. Grace reaches out, shining light to the truth. Reminded by the Holy Spirit of your abundant grace. As I stand in your presence, I confess to you. We come to reveal all I've transgressed. I offer you.
All right, so there's the first problem, is that little hi-hat is kind of messed up now. And so, there's some different ways to deal with that. Let's see, where was it? Maybe right here?
I stand in your presence.
And there's a few different ways to deal with it. One way is to try and move all these so that, if you look closer, it tries to find the transients and you can kind of move them around and stuff like that. But I think it sounded all right before. And so what I'm going to do is just momentarily, I'm going to take off the flex. Where is it? Okay, and it's all right. I guess it's not perfectly in place, but Now what I'm going to do is my command button, my right button for tools. I've got the marquee tool chosen, and the marquee tool is nice because I can choose portions of my audio track. So if I command, you can see that plus, and let's see how far do I want to go. I'll start that far. Okay, probably about that far. And now I chose kick, so what I'm going to do is go to the top of this kick, and I'm just it didn't do it. Maybe I didn't choose kick. Oh, I didn't. So let me choose the snare drum and listen again. And when I hit space bar, it's kind of nice because it goes to the beginning, and so you can listen to that portion that you just chose. So let me try snare drum again. Snare drum to about here. Okay. And so I need to go to the snare drum track. That's the one where I actually chose it. But because they're grouped, the marquee, chooses the entire drum section. And there we go. And I click on that. And what it does is it makes separate regions for that particular part. Separate regions. Okay. And I think we're okay there. And now I'm going to turn back on the flex time, and it'll sound weird again. And I have this chosen. Yeah, this section's chosen, so the region is chosen, and I'm just going to go ahead and click the flex off for that region. And then let's hear how it all sounds. Come to reveal all I've transgressed. Yeah, it might be that very first note is not where it ought to be. Come to. So I think I might just do this back to there and pull this out. That's better. I think that's better. Come to. Not quite. All right, now it might be. Come to reveal. There you go. All I've transgressed. I offer you all my fear and shame. You right my wrongs, pour mercy over me. I am made new because Okay, another problem. And so I'm going to, again, do the same thing here. I'm going to choose the snare drum. Oh, of course, I forgot to do this first. Okay, snare drum. Okay, so I wanted to click the flex off, and then that gives me access. And yeah, now I'm going to take these regions, and I'm going to turn the flex off for those. And then turn flex back on. Yeah, there we go. And let's see how that sounds. Well, maybe we need to move the whole thing just a little bit. Whoops, yeah. Make it line up. That's as far as I can go. So we'll go a little further this way. Close. All right. There we go.
of you.
Okay, so there we have it. That is, okay, starting with takes and compilations, and then a little bit of flex time as well. So I want you to practice all those, just like I did here. I want you to give those all a practice, and good luck when you're all done. I do want you to go ahead and practice bouncing your track, and turn it into me. You're going to bounce the project or section. Maybe I'll show you how that works right now. And I like to use this yellow bar. And I go to the beginning and the end of my project and set up the yellow bar, and then basically it's going to bounce it as a stereo track right from the beginning to the end of the project. So we'll go to bounce, project or section, and we'll want to do PCM, which is high quality, and you want to do either a wave or an AIFF. AIFF is the one that Macintosh uses, and wave is very universal, so I'm going to stick with WAV or wave. And turn normalize off, definitely turn that off. Everything else is all set. 24-bit, 44.1, interleave, that's your stereo, no dithering. And then you can go ahead and name it. It's automatically going to put it into your bounce folder, or it's going to create one if you don't have one already. And there you go. And we should be able to find that. There you go. Have fun.